Uhuru! Uhuru! Welcome to Burning Spear TV. I am Akilé Anai, Director of Agitation and Propaganda for the African People's Socialist Party, as well as your Editor-in-Chief of the Burning Spear newspaper. And we're live today from the beautiful Aquaba Hall at the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida. Tonight, we are celebrating the party's longest-running institution, the Burning Spear newspaper, which, as of this month, has been in constant production. Which, as of this month, has been in constant production for half a century. We have been celebrating this victory of the we will be celebrating this victory of the African nation throughout the month of December with a fierce socialist spear sales competition where comrades from throughout the U.S. have been hitting the streets to distribute as many papers as possible. We have been calling on our comrades to donate during this month as we strive to raise $3,000 for the month of December. And tonight we have a goal of raising $2,000, and with your support, I know we can make that. To really highlight the celebration, we are honored to have with us this evening leader and founder of the African People's Socialist Party, as well as the first ever editor-in-chief of the Burning Spear, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru, Chairman. So this evening, we will be conducting an in-depth interview with the chairman regarding the history and significance of the world's most dynamic, revolutionary news source. But before we do that, we want to take this time to show a brief 5-minute interview with Comrade Omali Yeshitela out in Houston, Texas. He is currently the political editor and a longtime staff member of the Burning Spear newspaper and is one of our party's veterans. So stay tuned with us who are here in the room, and we're going to show this video, this interview with Comrade Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru. It's about 5 minutes.
I'm joined by Comrade Omali Yeshitela, longtime party member of the African People's Socialist Party since 1974 and a Burning Spear staff member since 1977. Comrade Yeshitela was an editor-in-chief from 1982 to 1988 and again from 2012 to 2015. And he currently serves as the chief political editor of the Burning Spear newspaper. Uhuru Yeshitela.
Uhuru, Comrade. Open. Thank you for having me on.
Uhuru. It is an absolute honor to be interviewing you today. So without further ado, we're going to get started with the questions. Okay, so how did you first meet the party? Had you been involved in any kind of organizing prior to this, and why did you choose to join the African People's Socialist Party?
Well, I first met the party through the Burning Spear newspaper. I was at an African Liberation Day demonstration in Washington, D.C. This had to be 1974. And someone from the party was there selling the Burning Spear newspaper. I bought one. When we got back to Atlanta, that's where I was living at the time, we did a couple of studies around the party's line, and I pretty much liked what I was reading there, you know. So that was my first encounter with the African People's Socialist Party, was through the Burning Spear newspaper, and it kind of has stuck with me since that time, the importance of having that party down in the streets with the people. And again, you know, the Burning Spear, it served as so many other things. Let me tell you, it's like in promotion of the struggle to free Desert Rulers, you know, because nothing else served a better purpose than the Burning Spear newspaper. And I worked in Atlanta for some years. love to see the chairman come through Atlanta, you know, so we could do some program with him, just talk to him and stuff. But one thing, if you would give us a choice between who we wanted to come, the chairman of our Burnsville newspaper, I think we would choose the Spear every time, because that really gave us a chance to get out in that community and organize and talk to the people. So that's to show you how how high the Burnsville newspaper was held and esteemed by the cadre on the ground. Everybody talked about the Burnsville. Everybody wanted to be a part of the Burnsville newspaper. In the summer of 1984, what we did, we did an Oakland summer project, which was actually 20 years following the Mississippi summer project that was done by the Student Nonviolence Coordinating Committee down in Mississippi that would produce the Black Power slogan 2 years later. Anyway, we were doing this Oakland summer project in the land reform law, and at the time, Jesse Jackson was fighting for the nomination of the Democratic Party. The slogan was "Run, Jesse, run." So the front page of the Burnsville newspaper, what it had a photo of Jesse Jackson. I think it was Angela Davis, Falcon, and a host of other leftists with the caption reading, the line forms to the left, but the caption reading, "No confidence in the United States government, male or female, black or white, Democrat or Republican."
So do you have any words of advice for spear writers or spear sellers today?
Yeah, like the 4 hours that you spend on Facebook, take your bone of Burnsville newspaper, get on the corner, and I guarantee you will come out of that with a real friend as opposed to a cyber friend who people say anything they want to online. You've got a million experts and nobody expert about nothing, So I'm suggesting that that spear sellers, take this mission seriously and get your bundle. Go out there and see how much more lively and uplifting that is, as opposed to being on some, a social media page for 4 or 5 hours. In regard to the spear writers, we've got so many people with these cameras, shooting police murders and police beatings. I suggest that I know we've got a writing team in the Spear, but we also have cadre out there that things are happening in their neighborhoods that they should write about. If they write about it and get it to us, we can do the copy editing, proofread, and political editing and make sure that this story gets out. Send us a picture of that person in your neighborhood that you want to be in that newspaper. We put that picture in the newspaper. You got in the hood, you sell the Burnsville newspaper. You write about their problem, they read about their problem. So I just really believe we've got the best tool in the arsenal of the party is the Burnsville newspaper. And that's a fact.
Uhuru, Comrade K-Fing. That's a fact. Uhuru. So we want to remind everyone that throughout the duration of this webinar, we encourage you to donate to theburningspear.com/donate. We're going to raise $2,000 tonight. Also, like and share this video and invite your friends and family on as well. Now, the moment we've been waiting for. Let's jump into this interview with Chairman Omali Yeshitela. So I just want to say first, Chairman, that it is an honor to have you here with us today. You know, just your visionary leadership for the past 50 years is tremendous and has led us to be able to celebrate this victory with you and the rest of the world. So our first question, we understand that you introduced the concept of dual and contending power to the world in 1975. And in Berkeley, California, 1985, at a forum, you stated, "We don't consider ourselves alternative media. We consider ourselves a contending force." Can you elaborate on the concept of dual and contending power and how it relates to the creation of the Burning Spear newspaper?
Uhuru, first of all, I'd like to really express appreciation for the work that you're doing, Comrade Director Akilé. And I mean, you just profound statement of the significance of institutionalizing the presence of the party, the work that we do. And so I think it's important to say that. Comrade K-Fing, who you spoke to from Houston, who we just heard and saw in the interview, the video, was himself, as you mentioned earlier, editor-in-chief at one time of the Burning Spear newspaper. And the thing that made K-Fing so significant is he loved that newspaper, and he still does. Mm-hmm. And he loved selling that newspaper, and he loved writing for that newspaper, and he understood the significance of the paper. In terms of the Burning Spear and the Berkeley event that you are speaking of, I forgot the title of the event, but it had something to do with the media and truth, et cetera. And you know, what we had to say is that there's the truth of the bourgeoisie and the imperialists, and then there's the truth of the oppressed and the colonized people. And what the Burning Spear gives us an opportunity to do is to tell the truth of the oppressed. And the oppressed, we represent the majority of the people, and not just a handful of people with big bank accounts who dominate the narrative for the entire world mostly, and have done it for the longest period of time. But we understood as a colonized people, and this is extremely important in this era, where K-Fing referenced about social media being this dominant factor, where people increasingly do not have relationships with each other, but instead have a relationship to a computer screen, and they can like this and like that without having to have contact with human beings. And we've now at a period subsequent to the defeat of a revolutionary movement of human beings, where people knocked on doors and went into dangerous communities that where the state was nakedly, openly trying to crush any attempt to even talk to people about being free, where actually even in this city of St. Petersburg, where we are located now, where members of the party have gone to jail just for selling the newspaper on the street. So that was a different era, and we're talking about organizing people and bringing people into political life. And at this time, it was clear that if change were to occur, it was going to happen as a consequence of the work that we did, that we have to have the instruments to make freedom happen. It wasn't just some abstract discussion that somebody wrote great papers about. And so we talk about the Burning Spear, and the thing that we were saying then is that the truth of the oppressed is represented in the Burning Spear newspaper, and that we don't see ourselves and haven't seen ourselves as some kind of alternative media. We saw that a lot in the 1960s, where there were news papers that considered themselves alternative this and alternative that. And in many ways, they were kind of a loyal opposition to the social system. But we're saying, no, we're not alternative. We are contending. We are in contention with the social system, in contention with colonialism, in contention with white power. Our objective is to be the dominant force. That's what the contention is about, not to be some alternative thing, take this or take that. Our objective is to be the dominant force, just like the objective of the ruling class is to be the dominant forces, which is why, as much as you might like Facebook, it's increasingly difficult to even use that to get the message out anymore. So that's the struggle. And so when we talk about the Burning Spear newspaper, it's an instrument to win the liberation of our people, to end the colonial relationship that we have with imperialist white power. We are in contention with imperialist white power. We are in contention with the New York Times. We are in contention with the Wall Street Journal. We are in contention with the various news entities that represents white power around this country and around the world.
Uhuru. Thank you so much, Chairman, for that. So the first tabloid printed spear appeared on December 22nd, 1969, this exact date 49 years ago. And we actually have it framed, and I wanted to be able to show our audience. This is the first tabloid edition spear.
It's upside down.
Oh, it's upside down? Thank you. This is the first tabloid edition, again, printed December 22nd, 1969. Today, 49 years ago. So, And today we have all of this technology that helps us to lay out the spear and make it beautiful for our readers, making this process a lot smoother. But I want to talk about the old days. What was the production process back when the spear had just been introduced to the world?
That's interesting because I was the only one in Jomo that had anything that looked like experience working with a newspaper. I had worked for the local ruling class bourgeois media in St. Petersburg, Florida, that was called the St. Petersburg Times. And I had worked first as what they called a copy boy. And then beyond that, I moved to another area of production, the composing room, where the actual newspaper was being composed. So I had some kind of experience, but nothing of like trying to do our own. And by the way, the St. Petersburg Times, it had a Negro sheet, and the St. Petersburg Times had one page in the newspaper that came to the African community that was dedicated to stuff that might be relevant to African people. And so we laid out the Burning Spear newspaper first, not knowing what the hell we were doing. It was on the floor of the Freedom House that now is buried under an interstate in the city of St. Petersburg. But we laid it out on the floor. We knew some things about materials that we needed. They had something, a kind of press type that you use to make headlines, and sometimes we actually used pencils or black markers to make a headline with, and we used cement glue. We typed it and then cut it out, cut the paper out, and then in columns, and then used cement glue to paste it down. So when you made an error, if you find an error there, then you got to type the word where there's an error and cut it out and then put some glue on it and paste it on over the other, you know. So this was the kind of thing that we were doing with the newspaper. And the first paper, was kind of horrible, but we got better at it. And so that's how we did it. And moving forward, you know, we would lay it out on a table, and then we got really fancy and got something that they call a layout table. And the layout table was something that actually, you could raise it and what do you call that? So that is elevated. You know, the part of the table is elevated. And we had like clotheslines running across the room where we would work on a page, and then we'd hang the page up on the clothesline, and then the next part of the production would get the paper off the clothesline, then they would read what had been posted up and for corrections and what have you, and clip and paste the corrections and things like that. So that was part of the process that we used at the time. And that's really an understatement of how crude the process was. We got better as we moved forward. We got a machine that could make a headline. You know, we could actually put it in a machine and type a headline, and it would come up larger. The font would be larger, and cut it out and paste it on. So that was how we did it for ages and ages until we became extremely proficient at doing that. I mean, I think K-Fing and I were probably, nobody could lay out a paper, Burning Spear, more quickly than the two of us. But at one time, there were just two of us, two people who were working on the Burning Spear. The Burning Spear now is the smallest in size that we've ever produced. I think it's about 16 pages now, but it has been up the pages in the 30s, and we have at one time put out the Spear twice a month, So you know, we're heading back in the ability to come out more frequently, but it was a very crude kind of production at the time, and not as sophisticated. We didn't have the same kind of division of labor that we have now. An entire department, such as the one that you had up now, in terms of the agitation and propaganda. Almost everybody played some role in agitation and propaganda at that time. So it was pretty primitive. Yeah.
Wow, you hear that, staff?
But we played a lot of loud music at the time. Yeah.
Well, that is incredible history, and just to, you know, like I said, I hope the staff heard that loud and clear, and that, you know, knowing that that was the conditions you guys were dealing with, and still being able to, you know, have up to 30 pages, being able to produce it at, you know, twice a month, you know, it's the capacity that we are striving for. But not only that, but struggling for the capacity to actually have our own printing press and do it on our own, so that we have complete control over the Burning Spear newspaper. So during the Black Revolution of the 60s, the Black Panther Party at its peak published 250,000 newspapers every week to sell. And so many people came into political life or were informed about the political situation through this paper. Our party also has comrades who discovered us through the pages of the Spear. What is the importance of distributing the Burning Spear newspaper?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, because some of them are not so obvious. Some of the things that make it important are not so obvious. We mentioned the Black Panther Party. Then, you know, there was the original Nation of Islam that may have had 500,000 papers a week that they were distributing. And the power in this, and then at a time, the Burning Spear was, it could not meet the same kinds of printing goals that the Panthers and the Nation of Islam did, but we had a much larger distribution base. And the thing that was really powerful is that you could not go into an African community in this country and not see some young person standing on a corner selling the Black Panther newspaper, selling the Burning Spear, selling Muhammad Speaks. And it was really a kind of comforting thing, for the community had a sense of somebody always being on task, somebody always working in the interest of the community. That was powerful. I cannot overstate just the psychological significance of that for an oppressed and colonized people that have this army of folk who were out there all the time. No matter, you got off the subway, there was somebody who had the newspaper. You know, you get off the bus, that's on the bus, and on the subway, there's somebody who has the newspaper. And going throughout the communities and being chased out of parking lots of supermarkets with the newspaper, because we were everywhere. And that was extremely powerful, just in terms of the self-confidence of the African community itself, just to know that they are warriors on the ground all the time, working for the community. And that's part of what makes selling this newspaper so significant. And it's not the least significant thing. Another thing that's really important about selling a newspaper is that you can walk up with this newspaper in your hand and to a complete stranger and began to engage this stranger in a discussion about the most esoteric questions, revolutionary political questions happening in the world. I mean, people are now talking about the silliness that's associated with Mattis now leaving the Trump administration and what that means for the world, and how the stock market is crashing because of that, and what it means in terms of the security of the people in Europe, etc. I mean, how do you go up to somebody and say, look, let's talk about what happened with Mattis? You know what I mean? You got a newspaper in your hand and you say, this is why you need to read this newspaper. And you begin to bring the politics to the people. The newspaper, the Burning Spear newspaper, also gives every person who sells this newspaper a role as a leader in our community.
Yes.
Because you're taking information that the ordinary person in the community does not have access to. The ordinary working class person doesn't have access to this. So it makes the party, takes the leadership of the party directly, and the person who's selling the newspaper is transformed from just an ordinary person, a colonized person, to a leader. And what begins to happen is the people in the community begin to look for you to get that newspaper, because, or if not to get the newspaper, anything that's happened, they find you to have a discussion about it, because you know about this kind of stuff based on the fact that you introduced them to the Burning Spear newspaper. It's an extremely powerful and significant thing. And then finally, it's an incredibly significant organizing tool. It's an organizing tool in the sense that Kay Fing said, as you heard in the video, that he found the African People's Socialist Party through the Burning Spear newspaper.
Yeah.
And so it's an organizing tool in that fashion. But Kay Fing was also saying that part of what it is that we have to do is write about the issues and struggles in our communities, and then we explain the community to itself.
Yes.
And so if something is happening in the community, somebody shot a pig, or a pig shot somebody, and then the next issue of the Burning Spear, we are writing about that and summing it up and say how this relates to point so-and-so in the Burning Spear newspaper, and that you can find from the African People's Socialist Party, and what this means for our community, etc. This is what helps to educate, radicalize the community, and helps to organize the people too, and bring the people in the political organization, bring the people into the party, bring the people into our constituent organizations. That's the power of the Burning Spear newspaper, stated as concisely and quickly as has been made necessary for the purpose of this discussion.
The world.
Yeah.
And I hope that served as a little motivation for our comrades.
Listen, we used to, in Oakland, California, it was really funny because in Oakland, the last meaningful black liberation movement in Oakland, California was led by the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement. And when we came to Oakland, California, we were determined to smash this class peace that existed there. The people were catching hell. You had a predominantly African petty bourgeois city council, and people didn't say black or white. You said minority people and majority people. The language was so distorted to obscure, designed to obscure any contradiction so that might exist between black people and white people. And Oakland bragged about being the most integrated city in the country. But what was really interesting, and we did bust up the class piece. We organized right in the communities and the most seriously affected, oppressed communities that was there, and we defined the African petty bourgeoisie, this neo-colonial, and they were first out of the gate to try to get a copy of the Burning Spear. I'm talking about these Africans who sat on the city council because they had to find out who they were today, right? So they learned who they were through reading the Burning Spear. They began to even use the language of colonialism and neo-colonialism, etc. That was the significance of this newspaper. And we defined the police and the state, the elements of the states in our community. Usually speaking, these are just backwards reactionary forces that's out there. They learn who they are through these young African men and women who are out there in the streets with this newspaper, defining them as the arm of the colonial state and occupying military force, etc. And this is how they come to understand themselves. And that's extremely important psychologically and otherwise, because otherwise they are allowed to be able to define themselves as the pursuit of crime and attacking criminals and attacking African people for some other bogus reason. But now we're saying this is who you are. And not only do they know we know who they are, they know that everybody in that community who reads the Burning Spear knows who they are as well. That's the power of the Burning Spear newspaper right in our communities. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, Chairman. And I was, going to say that I hope this serves as inspiration for everybody who's engaged in the spear sales competition right now, not just to win the competition, but to understand, the significance of what you're doing out there in those communities when you are distributing that newspaper. I hear oftentimes, especially with, the development of technology and smartphones and all these different kinds of things, I'm saying it like I don't use it. But, there's this argument that this method of news is dying, the newspaper is dying. What is your position on the argument that newspapers are going out of style and losing their relevance?
It's really interesting because this is not the first time newspapers have gone out of style. And people should be aware of this, especially in the 1960s. That's where the whole concept of alternative newspapers became influential. And the newspapers were losing out in the battle against people who were putting out these newspapers in our communities, the Panthers, the Nation of Islam, JOMO, and even the white left that was putting out newspapers. I'm not talking so much about these paper that's coming from obviously communist organ. We're talking about writing communities where people were writing about things. The newspapers changed their format because they were losing the audience. The format of the newspapers had to change so that they imitated the imitators. They began to imitate the so-called alternative media and how they looked and everything like that. So this isn't a new phenomenon. And what we're seeing now is that the newspapers, the bourgeois media, the big-time guys, the New York Times that Trump says regularly is a failing newspaper that's, losing its readership. And you see all of these newspapers in communities everywhere, thinner and thinner and thinner. They're losing out to the technology and what have you. And the technology, the thing that's made the technology so significant, and the thing that's made Facebook and the corporations that own cyberspace now so upset is because the people have been able to intervene in this process. So if they're losing the New York Times, if they're losing the Wall Street Journal, if they're losing all these other newspapers, and the people are going to social media, now what they're doing is to make sure that social media cannot fill in the vacuum that might be there through the decline of these other mediums. And so that's really important. But I think the bigger point that we're looking at, first of all, people will read this newspaper. Yes. And that's our experience. White people will read it, Africans will read it, and it offers something that they cannot get otherwise. And it offers a truth. I remember walking into a bookstore in London, England. This was years and years ago. I'd never been in the bookstore before. And I walked in the bookstore, and there was this white man, this British guy, this British chap, who was raving. This is the only newspaper that tells the truth. And he had a copy of the Burning Spear in his hand. So the paper, the spear, is powerful. And it serves a purpose. And the biggest problem that the newspaper is facing is not simply technology. The biggest problem the newspaper is facing is its irrelevance to the people. And the Burning Spear is relevant. That's one thing. Two, the majority of African people do not have access to social media like that. Yep. And sometimes, the social media that we do have access to cannot, most of the time, it can't do what the Burning Spear can do. And so I just think that it's a bogus argument. We got all these people in prison who need the Burning Spear. We got all these people in Africa who need the Burning Spear. We got all these people throughout what they call the underdeveloped world. You got to remember, we live in a world where the vast majority of the people do not have running water, do not have clean, do not have lights and things like that. There's only a handful of people on the planet Earth, comparatively, who have access to the social media that we are talking about. The rest of us have to find other means by which we can communicate and come to information. The Burning Spear is going to fill that vacuum. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is so important. And another thing about the Burning Spear is that it's ours. It belongs to us. Whereas, they can take away that other stuff at any point in time, and they are. I mean, the whole censorship, the control over it. I mean, you can't even private message people anymore. They get to block the content you send in messages to each other now. It doesn't belong to us. But the Burning Spear is, as long as we are alive and breathing, we can put it together and distribute it out in our communities. So
today, for example, did you get the email from the comrade? Because I think this issue, the last issue of the Burning Spear, had an article from South Africa, right? And part of it was in Zulu.
Oh.
Did you see that?
No.
Okay. Well, we have an article. Part of it is written in Zulu, and it's translated, you know, as it's written. And you know, they want this to go into the Burning Spear newspaper. Now that's coming straight out of South Africa, and one of the places, a few places where the white man. This is what they're saying, is they're concerned because it's one of the few places where the white man didn't own the land, didn't control the land, and it's a community now fighting for its life because they're trying to take the land. So we got this article, and it's an incredibly good article, great article, and it's part of it is written in Zulu, with translation as you know, throughout the article that says what they mean in Zulu. This is the Burning Spear newspaper. This is incredibly significant, incredibly important.
Uhuru.
Yeah.
All right. So, Chairman, the Burning Spear puts out that we are biased to the interests of the African working class.
Yeah.
Though white power claims that journalism is supposed to be unbiased.
Yes.
So why is there no such thing as unbiased journalism?
Well, you know, that's part of the rubbish that we, you know, the people get fed. You know, here you got these corporations that own and control the narrative, own and control even the means by which, you know, media, you know, get produced and distributed and what have you, and then they talk about it's unbiased. First place, how in the hell is that possible? You know, like, you know, the ordinary guys sitting around, you know, putting out newspapers, right? No. The ones who can put those newspapers out are the ones who determine what's in those newspapers, and it's their views, their opinions, et cetera, that sets the terms, and they can call themselves unbiased, because who's going to contend with them? Who's going to say, oh, that's a lie, you are biased, right? They're the ones, they got the voice, right? So it's nonsense in the first place. And secondly, I think, you know, newspapers, the media that they talk about being non-biased, they're like non-biased in the way that undertakers are non-biased about whether people die or not. Do you understand? The fact is that the media serves the interests of the class, of a particular class, and it's the imperialist colonial ruling class, colonial capitalist class that dominates the world and that informs and influences almost everybody on the planet, so that you will see sometimes people in the worst kinds of oppressed circumstances who think they're very smart, right? Because they read the New York Times. I know I'm smart because I read the newspapers every day. I get all of this information and what have you. And of course, what you're getting is their definition of truth, and that's a ruling class truth. So yeah, we are biased as hell. We do not make any bones about the fact that we stand and our truth is the truth of the oppressed, the truth of the African working class, the truth of the struggle against imperialism, the anti-capitalist truth, the anti-imperialist truth, the black power truth. That's the truth, and we make no bones about it. That's the truth that we tell. Yeah. And that's the truth. As K. Fing said, that's a fact.
That's a fact.
And facts can be overwhelming.
Yes.
You know that, right? But sometimes facts can be used to hide the truth, right? You can tell a fact. You can show a fact. See, the Ku Klux Klan person just helped that little old lady, black lady across the street. That might be a fact.
Yes.
But the truth is that the Klan is planning to kill you, has killed you, will kill you, and is a part of an operation to kill you. So this happens to us all the time. People use facts, right, to hide the truth, right? So our truth and facts are the same, right? Uhuru.
So it has been an incredible interview so far. Uhuru, comrades, can you all agree? Uhuru. Everything that has been set up to now has been extremely powerful. Really want to, again, just salute Chairman. And, you know, this is the newspaper that everyone at this point, if you haven't before, haven't felt it before, have to feel it now, wanting to support the Burning Spear newspaper. So we're not through yet, though. We're not done with this interview. I just wanted to recognize, though, that we do have people watching all around the country right now with us, different viewing parties being held, and also that we have donations that have already come in. And I want to go ahead and acknowledge some businesses out in Atlanta, Georgia, that have contributed to the Burning Spear newspaper as a part of this webinar. They each contributed $50, and this was thanks to Comrade Naya out in Georgia, who went to these businesses and, you know, asked them would they support the Burning Spear. Some of these businesses already carry the newspaper out in Georgia based on the work that Comrade Naya is doing. These businesses are Aaron's Automotive of Marietta, Georgia, $50.
Right
so
on.
Thank you. And also from Black Dot Bookstore in Georgia as well, $50 from Black Dot Bookstore.
All right.
All right, and we also have Sandra near Seattle, Washington, $25. Uhuru. And we have Comrade Olafin in St. Pete, $50. Uhuru. Uhuru. All right, so you guys make your donation through the Spears online store. Again, that you can go to theburningspear.com/donate to access that. You guys can go right now, theburningspear.com/donate. Go ahead and make your donations there. I want to thank you also, thank people who have already contributed. And I want to take this time right now to recognize our important Spear staff. As Chairman said, we have this division of labor, so I'm the editor-in-chief, but I do not do all of this by myself. And I want to recognize the folks that make this work happen. Just mention his name, just donated $50, Comrade Olafin Ikemba, who for over a year was doing the work of the Burning Spear remotely in Hawaii and is now here in St. Pete.
Right on.
So he's the managing editor as well as our secretary and also the coordinator for the whole 50th anniversary celebration. He coordinated the Spear sales, coordinated this webinar tonight. So this comrade is amazing, Uhuru to Olafin. We mentioned Comrade Omali Yeshitela, who serves currently as our political editor, making sure that paper is African internationalist through and through. So salute to Comrade Omali Yeshitela. We love you. I mentioned her already. This comrade is badass. This is Naya Akilé out in Georgia, who traveled to Huntsville to be able to be a part of the viewing party today.
Right on. All right. Yeah.
And she serves as our chief copy editor of the Spear. We have Comrade Robert Quinones, who wears many hats throughout the Department of Agitation Propaganda, but he's also on our proofreading team. So thank you, Comrade Robert, making sure we get all those errors, cleans it up. And Robert is located in Orlando, Florida. We have Comrade Kota, who is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, also works with the Huru Philly Furniture Store, and she is one of our layout editors. So thank you, Comrade Kota, making the Spear look absolutely gorgeous every month. And I want to put out a call to anybody who's out online right now who wants to be a part of this team. You can sign up today at theburningspear.com. We have little forms you can fill out. Are you interested in journalism? You want to be a part of a staff that gets this paper out every month? And you want to be a part of this legacy, 50 years of the Burning Spear newspaper. You can be a part of it. Sign up with us today, theburningspear.com. We need your skills. We want all of your talents. Contribute it to the only paper of its kind, the Burning Spear newspaper. As I mentioned, we have viewing parties happening throughout the country, and we want to salute those comrades right now.
Not going to mention the columnists?
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, I can mention the columnists. We have many columnists who contribute to the Spear's content every month, and I'm self-critical because I did not write it down, but I have it committed to memory. And we have Comrade Yejide Odumila, who is the column editor for Harriet's Daughters. We have Comrade...
Where is she?
Oh, she is in D.C., Washington, D.C. We have Comrade Secretary General of the African Socialist International, Luwezi Kinshasa, who is in London. He heads Kinshasa International. Yes, Kinshasa International, you know, brings the question of the African nation and talks about, you know, the situations happening throughout, you know, the African world, wherever we are dispersed, particularly what's happening in Africa. Comrade Luwezi brings that to us every month. We also have the Office of Deputy Chair that is, and the column editor of that is Deputy Chairwoman Akilé Yeshitela of the African Socialist Party. And that column talks about all the economic development work that's happening within our party. We also have the Point of the Spear, whose column editor is Chairman Omali Yeshitela. We have Diasporic Music, who is a that's columnist. He's out in Canada, Comrade Norman Jalali Richmond, who talks about African music from the diaspora. Contributes every month with his column. We also have a brand new column, African Resistance Now, which is led by Comrade Kulambai and Danette, who's the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. And that column serves to tell the real stories, what was mentioned about being in the African community and having stories written by Africans in the community so they can see themselves reflected right in the newspaper and summing up their conditions for them. That is African Resistance Now. Comrade Olafin, am I forgetting something? No? I got all the columns? Give me a thumbs up if I got it. All right, Uhuru. So that's all of our columns, and you know, we encourage anybody. We also take, you know, we put letters from prisoners. We send the spear into the prisons every single month. We have over, I mean, it's nowhere near the amount of Africans who are in prison today, who are in those colonial concentration camps, but we have a database of over 600 people who receive this spear for free, and you can sponsor a prisoner today. Again, go to theburningspear.com, where our brothers and sisters get that newspaper for free and distribute it. That's around the country, and those comrades, they get, some of their letters get featured in this spear as well. But we are, you know, we want more columnists, we want more content, and I'll talk more about how you know, can contribute to that aspect. But run a salute to the columnists because they are the content of the Burning Spear newspaper. So who to all of you. And I wanted to talk about the viewing parties that are being hosted all throughout this country. We have a couple of places today that are going to be helping us reach this $2,000 goal, and they've already made pledges. We have Huntsville, Alabama viewing party, Boston, Massachusetts viewing party, Houston, Texas viewing party, San Diego and Oakland, California viewing party, St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, Orlando, Florida, Asheville, North Carolina, and London with Comrade Luwezi. So these viewing parties are happening all over. So we encourage you, if you are in a viewing party right now, this is the time. Make your pledges to theburningspear.com/donate. Go ahead, let us know if you're watching the live stream right now via YouTube or Facebook. Let us know how much you pledged tonight to the Burning Spear to help with this $2,000 goal. And, oh, I'm self-critical. We did not mention white solidarity with Black power. That's another column. That is, the column editor is Comrade Chairwoman Penny Hess of the African People's Solidarity Committee. So, it's a very, very important article, you know, just showcasing this growing movement of white reparations to African people throughout the world. That is white solidarity with Black power. So want to talk about some of these pledges that we have in these different locations. We have in San Diego and Oakland combined made a $200 pledge to the Burning Spear tonight. Uhuru. In the Midwest, in Kansas City, the Midwest Regional Committee made a pledge of $100 to the Burning Spear tonight. So Uhuru. And the Northern Region made a pledge of $200 to the Burning Spear tonight. So Uhuru. And again, keep those pledges coming. I want to hear from you guys. Please let us know how much you intend to contribute in the comment section of YouTube or Facebook. And right now, you know, I want to go ahead and just let everybody know. I know people are finishing up their holiday shopping or whatever, if y'all do that. And you know, I don't know a better way to invest your money this season than by supporting the revolution, by donating to this Black independent journal. Our paper is not owned or endorsed by U.S. imperialist political parties, no giant corporations that suck the blood from the peoples on the planet Earth. It is through the support of the people that this paper has been in nonstop production for the last 50 years. So we are calling on you guys to keep that tradition going, keep the spear burning, donate today. I wanted to know if we have anybody in the room. Do we have any contributions? We gave out pledge cards at the beginning. And, oh, we got a contribution? 5 from, what's your name? Jackson Hollingsworth. Uhuru. Uhuru.
20.
20 from?
Valerie Bronte.
Valerie Bronte. Uhuru. Any other pledges? If you want to be anonymous, you can put it in the basket and we'll calculate your total at the end. Uhuru. 50 from Penny Hess. Uhuru. Uhuru. 15 from Renee. Uhuru. Timber for 10. Uhuru. 10 for Timber. Uhuru. 20 from Betty. Yes. Uhuru. Thank you, Betty. I got a hand in the back. $5 from Ms. Who's that? Raymond? Uhuru. Uhuru. $50 from Janice can't, but she can when she wants to. Uhuru. Any other contributions in the room? $15. 15 from? Jonathan. 15 from Jonathan. 10 from Kyle. Uhuru. You got any more in the room?
75.
Chairman with 75. Woo! Uhuru. Anyone else? I'm going to contribute 100. Uhuru, 100. Anybody want to match me? Match me with $100 online or in the room if you got it, $100 to keep the spear burning. Anybody want to match me? I want to hear it. Match made in heaven, $100. $100. If you go out and sell 100 spears, you can give me $100 for the. You see how that works? You see how that works? You guys can also support the spear by going and subscribing to the Burning Spear newspaper. Get the paper at your door every month. Oh, you gonna say
yeah, Matthew, I'll put another 25 with that on tomorrow. Yeah.
All right, we got Chairman matching me. Okay. All right, we have Ryan in Huntsville with $10. We have Carrie in Huntsville with $30. Uhuru. Uhuru. Shout out to those comrades. USM Boston for $55. $55 for USM Boston. Uhuru, comrades. Uhuru. Let's keep it going. Let's get those donations in. Let's keep the spear burning. We got AppDep with $25. Uhuru. AppDep is the All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project, whose director is Comrade Dr. Aisha Fields out in Huntsville, Alabama. So thank you, AppDep. Uhuru, thank you so much. We have President Kalumbai with $25. Uhuru, President Kalumbai. Thank you for supporting the Burning Spear newspaper. Uhuru. All right, remember, we got that match out there. I'm asking people to match me and Chairman at $100. All right, let's make this the gift that keeps on giving. We have, oh, yes?
Yeah, Kitty Riley texted me that she's putting in $30.
Uhuru, Kitty Riley, $30 from Kitty Riley. We have Deputy Chair Akilé Yeshitela with 100 big ones. She matched us. And we have Maito with $100 to the Burning Spear. have Kundai from Huntsville with $10. Uhuru Kundai. Rajikikai. Uhuru. Uhuru, yes. Let's keep it going, comrades. Let's keep it going. And if y'all feeling more generous in the room today, if y'all feeling it, your pockets are just waiting and itching to support the Burning Spear today, I am totally welcome to that. My arms are open. Okay, but as I was saying, you guys can also support the Spear in many different ways. You guys can subscribe to the Burning Spear, get the Spear every month for 12 months, for a year, for $25 right at your front door. Or you can become a distributor today. Go to burningspearmarketplace.com, order your distributor bundle, and do as the chairman says you need to do, and go out there and sell that Spear. Watch how quickly it moves, and watch how quickly you influence the community and bring them into the revolution. And we also have our 50-year of the Burning Spear anniversary t-shirt. It's a limited edition only, so you got to get them while it's hot, while we have them. We only have a limited amount. You guys can pre-order them at burningspearmarketplace.com, which is another way you guys can support the Burning Spear newspaper today. We have Comrade Ijide, who is the president of the African National Women's Organization in Washington, D.C. with $50. Uhuru! We have comrades Naya and Gaida, who are representing Atlanta, Georgia with $40. Uhuru, Gaida, and Naya. Uhuru. We have Comrade Ushindi out in Newark, New Jersey with $50. Uhuru, Comrade Ushindi. Ushindi, Uhuru, thank you, comrades, so much for that contribution. Again, keep it coming. I was saying, I think I left off that you can also support by getting your limited edition 50 Years of the Burning Spear t-shirts. Right now, go to burningspearmarketplace.com. You can go to that website to make all of those things happen. Purchase your subscriber bundle, or your subscription, your bundle, and your t-shirts. And you can also sponsor a prisoner today. As we mentioned, the Sponsor Prisoner program makes sure that our brothers and sisters within these walls get that spear for free. So make sure you guys go there. Comrade Yeshitela was wondering if there's another way for people to donate. That she's saying that Comrade Kiongozi is finding it difficult to navigate the website. Well, we can get that worked out. I don't know of a different way to make those, be able to turn that in. Other than mailing in resources to the Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, Florida at 1245 18th Avenue South, St. Petersburg, Florida 33705. You guys can mail in if you have check or money order or actual cash. You guys can mail that to this address. Jackson?
Evan Garner in Asheville, North Carolina pledges $5.
Uhuru Evan, who is holding a viewing party in Asheville, North Carolina. We have Diane Tournay in Gainesville with $20. Uhuru. We have Comrade Fofi with $25. Uhuru. So thank you, comrades Fofi and Diane. Diane is in Gainesville and Fofi is in St. Louis. And Lisa's going to post an alternative link for those who are having trouble online. They want to pay with their card. She's getting that resolved currently. That would include Comrade Akilé Anai. Says, why is my donation from Germany not working? Oh, no, I don't have that. Okay, that's it, yeah. So, yeah, we want the German donation to work too. Yes, we want the German donation. Blame Lisa? Angela Merkel. Well, not Angela now, she's no longer there, is she, as the chancellor. They've got somebody else there, but yeah, go ahead. Lisa, I'm sure she can resolve that for us to get the Germans money, the Germany monies. Yeah. So we currently on, we're live streaming from Facebook and YouTube right now. Okay. So YouTube pledges, we have Lance Bowman, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Lance Bowman with $20. Uhuru. Uhuru. We have Tafari with 15. He is the chair of the African People's Socialist Party, Occupy Tanzania, or South Africa. So South Africa, Tafari. We have Johan Bedingfield with $25. Uhuru, Comrade Johan. Uhuru. So let's see. Got Nana Grant. Oh, I don't.
$100.
Oh, $100 from Comrade Nana. Yeah, uhuru.
Did you get Mira Siente
No.
from Seattle? $25.
Uhuru, Mira. Uhuru.
Gail Donnelly from Atlanta, $20.
Uhuru, Gail. $20.
Taylor Mock, Chicago, $20.
Uhuru, Taylor. She said I was glowing. Thank you.
Omali K-Fing from Houston, $50. Keep the spear burning.
Uhuru. Comrade K-Fing.
You got Shupavu Wakarima. Well, she's pledging $50. She's in Kansas City.
Uhuru, Shupavu.
Did you get Diane? You got Diane Tournay,
I
didn't you?
did, yes.
Okay. So,
Trying to get as
did you
fast as you are.
get Kiki Buchanan from?
That is Comrade Naya.
That's Comrade Naya. Okay. Why we call her?
She got several different pages.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She on all different fronts.
Okay. Right on. Right on.
Comrade Columbus is a new comrade from the community at my viewing party here in St. Louis, Missouri, is donating $5. Uhuru to new comrade. Uhuru. Uhuru, thank you so much.
So we got Hallie, Comrade Korba from Boston,
They said
55.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Uhuru, Boston with the 55.
Yeah, splendid.
Uhuru, yes. Splendid indeed. Ali from Philadelphia pledges $25. Uhuru, Comrade Ali. Oh, Ali. Sorry, Ali.
Ali?
Ali.
From where? From Huntley.
From Philly.
Yeah,
Sorry,
right,
Uhuru.
yeah.
Wrong. We got Ali's up there in Philadelphia. So Ali from Philadelphia pledges $25. Uhuru, thank you, comrade. Uhuru. I think Lisa was getting me the online, but I think she's trying to work that link now. So thank you, Chairman, for stepping in. I appreciate it. All right, Uhuru. So, Comrade Olafin, do we have a total now? 835. Uhuru, comrades. Uhuru. We have comrades Tachara and Brandy with $25 contribution to the Burning Spear newspaper. Uhuru. Thank you, comrades Tachara and Brandy. They are located, I think I said it, St. Louis, Missouri. Uhuru. Midwest region. Just want to make sure I get everything. So I'm going to go ahead and we want to jump back into this interview, which we'll actually be kind of wrapping it up, but I want to make sure that we do get everybody's donations in. Go to theburningspear.com/donate or whatever alternative link that Lisa puts in for people who are having difficulties. Again, any cash or check payments that you want to make, you can mail them to 1245 18th Avenue South. That's at the Uhuru House. You can actually address it to the Burning Spear. Timber?
In Cole.
Oh, in Cole. $10. Uhuru in Cole. Uhuru. We got a show on Black Power 96, Psychedelic.
Yeah.
He's a programmer. Uhuru.
Uhuru, $20 from Sarah and Jamie in St. Pete.
Uhuru, Sarah and Jamie, $20. Uhuru, thank you. Oh, okay. All right. Uhuru, thank you. Oh, we have Cornelia Robinson from Huntsville pledges $25. Uhuru, Cornelia. Oh, we have, so Lisa has a different amount. I don't know what's going on. I like her amount better though. 1,090 counted from pledges, not counting St. Pete at all. So from pledges alone online, we have $1,090. So, Olafin, are you counting St. Pete? Is that what you're doing? Or are you counting everything? You're trying to do everything? All right. We go hit it back, but I like this number a lot better. But this is everyone not including St. Pete, so this is good. So we are over halfway to our goal. Uhuru, Jackson?
Jesse Call in Seattle, 25.
Uhuru, Jesse Call, Uhuru. 25. Uhuru. So, like I said, once we get a more concrete number, but I know that right now, based on this, we are over halfway to our goal to $2,000, which I know we can make by the end of this program tonight. I know we can make $2,000 from the overwhelming support around the world for the Burning Spear newspaper. We got comrades in South Africa donating to the Spear. We got comrades in Germany donating to the Spear. This really is something that everybody can contribute to today. This is the voice of the international African revolution, which we see an example of that. Yes. And Lisa said, and still counting. So she's letting us know that we got more coming in. So we will get you guys final number as we finish this interview. We got Comrade Ann Hirsch. Oh, she says USM St. Pete is contributing $25 online. Uhuru. Uhuru. All right. You guys don't know how happy I am. All right, so I did want to go ahead and turn it back over to the chairman. This would be the closing statement, Chairman, in regards to this history in the making event right now that's happening, the 50th anniversary of the Burning Spear newspaper. So do you have any final statements for us, Chairman?
I just want to say that the Burning Spear is an arm of the African Revolution that is being made throughout the world. And it is informative that the comrades from Occupied Tanzania or South Africa are participating in this discussion. And our objective, again, is not to function as some kind of alternative to the ruling class media. Our objective is to be the arm of the African working class, the colonized African working class, in the struggle to become the ruling class. And that's what this is about. I really want to express appreciation to you, Comrade Director, for helping to institutionalize the significance of the Burning Spear newspaper. I want to salute the staff of the Burning Spear and all of those members of the party and party organizations that take this newspaper out, that take it seriously, what our task is to work with this newspaper. And we have to grow this newspaper exponentially. We have to grow it so that this newspaper is everywhere. And there are a lot of problems we have to solve. We still have to solve the problem of expediting getting this paper to South Africa, in South Africa. This is not a new contradiction, not just for us, but the Garvey movement had incredible difficulties in getting the newspapers into South Africa and other places on the continent of Africa as well. But we have to solve, this is one of the problems that we really have to solve. But I just want to thank again everybody, all of you who have made your contributions and still are contemplating doing that, all of you who are participating in the viewing parties, wherever you are. We got a pretty meaningful viewing party happening right here in St. Petersburg, Florida as well. Just want to express appreciation for the demonstrated unity that you exemplify. Right now, and Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Thank you, Chairman. And I believe you inspired some more folk. We got Comrade, I believe it's Kever in Orlando with $15, says he's returning $15. Uhuru, Comrade Kever.
Uhuru, Comrade Kever.
We have $25 from Kobina Bantushengo, who is our Southern Regional Representative out in Huntsville, Alabama. Uhuru, Kobina. All right, so keep your donations coming in all throughout the duration of this webinar and all throughout the evening. And for every day that you can, you think, oh, today I'm going to contribute to the Burning Spear today. You can go ahead and do that. Go to burningspear.com. Also, again, there are different ways that you can support the Burning Spear. Get it, actually purchase the Burning Spear, read the Burning Spear newspaper. etc. So just really want to just say thank you to the chairman again for just your tireless commitment to the freedom and liberation of African people, which is, testimony is the Burning Spear newspaper and its, continuation of 50 years. And want to salute all of you who are, who are viewing this today, who are a part of the celebration with us. It is an honor to serve as your editor-in-chief of the newspaper, as well as your director of agitation and propaganda. And like I said, it's an honor to be able to serve in this capacity for African people. And really just want to thank everybody who contributed to the Spear tonight, who've made a commitment, as Chairman said, to this newspaper and to the African Revolution. Want to thank the Spear staff again for putting this together. Salute to the viewing parties, and special thanks to our Burning Spear AV team member, Kyle Weiss, Vanguard AV. Before I continue, we got Uhuru, $5 from Tyra Askew from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Uhuru. And Ann Hirsch, who's the chair of Uhuru Solidarity Movement here in St. Pete, says they sold 15 copies of the Spear today at their outreach table. Uhuru. And Comrade Agbe, I see your comment, and she wants to know how she can distribute the Burning Spear in Germany. So we are going to get back to you. We're going to message you, letting you know how you can distribute the Spear, letting you know how we can get that shipped over to you, because wherever we can get the Spear, wherever we get people who are committed to distributing this newspaper, we wanted to get it in your hands. So we will message you and respond to that, definitely making sure that that happens. So back to where I was. Like I said, I was finishing thanking Comrade Kyle Weiss. Oh, we got the 50 from Kiongozi. Uhuru, resolve the problem. All right, no problem, Yesterday. Thanks for the link. Thank you. All right, so again, as I said, continue to show your support. Donate to theburningspear.com. Order your spears today. And for everyone who's in the spear sales competition, Uhuru, it is not just between Kobina and Timba. So you have a couple of weeks left, so you need to get out in those streets and sell. The competition ends January 7th, and we've already seen so many people out there selling the Burning Spear newspaper. Of course, Timba and Kobina think they have it in the bag from each other. People's mothers are being talked about, which is the only time I condone mother about mothers. So again, you guys have a few weeks left, so go out there and sell that newspaper. As Chairman said, and as it's been made abundantly clear, that newspaper will sell. It'll move in the African community. So it is really no issue. The issue is you just not getting off your butt and going out there in the community and moving it. So. And we have K-Moo on Facebook says, we also need the paper in Birmingham, and I agree. Uhuru. So order your spear today at burningspearmarketplace.com. Get a distributor bundle today, and you can move the paper in Birmingham. And Birmingham is in Alabama too, right? All right, so y'all link up. Huntsville, Birmingham, y'all link up, y'all sell that newspaper. And to answer Comrade Kobina's question about how people can write for the Spear, well, as I mentioned earlier, you can join the Spear team by visiting theburningspear.com. You can sign up for writing positions, copy editing, proofreading, photo editor, and so much more. So much goes into making the Burning Spear happen, and we want all of you on board. We want your skills and talent so you can join us. Also, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at theburningspear_BSP. And as mentioned before, you can also support the Burning Spear by subscribing and or purchasing a bundle and distributing it in your community, sponsoring a prisoner where our brothers and sisters in concentration camps called prisons can receive the Spear for free, or purchase our limited edition 50 Years of the Spear t-shirts, all available at burningspearmarketplace.com. Kobina says we can get it to BAM by tomorrow. That's what I'm talking about. Uhuru. Comrade Lisa says that we have up to $1,460 from online and still counting. Uhuru!
That's from online?
That's from online. Oh. And still counting.
Right on.
Her calculator is slow.
Vanguard up.
Vanguard up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So $1,460, comrades. That's y'all. That is you guys who are making this happen. Thank you. Thank you so much for your tremendous contributions to the Burning Spear newspaper. Uhuru. And as these donations keep coming in, I'll keep reading them off, but I do want to go into our announcements because we have some amazing things happening within the African People's Socialist Party and Uhuru movement at large. I want to say that the Burning Spear newspaper is the international voice of the African Revolution, as already mentioned, and it is the longest running institution of the African People's Socialist Party. This 50-year anniversary is a victory for the party, and you can be a part of this party, the Vanguard Party, the revolution, and you can join today at apspuhuru.org. So if you listen to African internationalism today and you completely unite with it and you're ready to commit to the revolution and making this work happen to free African people, this is your time now. Join at apspuhuru.org. There is no better time. You're not going to find it out there. No more waiting. This is it. Join the revolution. The Black revolution is alive. It is amazing. It is vibrant. It is beautiful. It is young. And you can go and join today at apspuhuru.org. Go ahead and join the African People's Socialist Party. What are you waiting for?
Well,
what are you waiting for? Girl. So, Comrade Kobina wanted to brag and say that they got 35 spears sold in Huntsville in 30 minutes. Get your sales up. I unite. All right, Uhuru. And you got a couple days left, comrades, brothers and sisters, to support the Uhuru Pies, 10,000 Pies for Black Power Blueprint campaign. If you are in St. Pete or Oakland, California, you guys can support this campaign. It is, like I said, 10,000 Pies for Black Power Blueprint, raising resources for this amazing project led by Deputy Chair Omali Yeshitela in St. Louis, Missouri. We saw over the last year the the building of our Uhuru House, our new Uhuru House. We have the lot across the street that's going to be home to our One Africa, One Nation flea marketplace. Flea market, and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, you guys, this is all thanks to you guys contributing to this project. So 10,000 Pies for Black Power Blueprint campaign is an extension of supporting Black Power Blueprint. So you guys order your pies today. You guys go to uhurupies.org. If you can, come volunteer. If you're in St. Pete or Oakland, California, get in one of the kitchens, come and help get these pies, come help sell the pies. Do a pie tasting at your jobs. You have one more holiday coming up. Put them on the tables during whatever holiday you celebrate, and support the 10,000 Pies campaign. In February, let me go. A really important announcement is the release of Chairman Omali Yeshitela's newest book. Yes, titled Vanguard, The Advanced Attachment of the African Revolution, which is the political report to the African People's Socialist Party's 7th Congress, which provides historical context and analysis on the deepening crisis of imperialism and the rising resistance by African and other colonized people around the world. The book covers topics such as why the African People's Socialist Party has been and is the vanguard of the revolution in the world today, if you had any questions, how the party solved the problems of the revolution, how the party survived the counterinsurgency, the strategy for putting African Socialist Internationalist dual power in practice, and the state of the party, as well as the theory of African internationalism and the question of the African nation, which are reprinted from the party's groundbreaking book from 2014, An Uneasy Equilibrium, which you also can purchase. Both of those books. The Uneasy Equilibrium is extremely important, and this book right here, Vanguard, also features solidarity statements, resolutions, and photos from the 7th Party Congress, so you can reserve your copy today, $35. Burning Spear Publications is releasing a limited first edition that includes color photos from the Congress that may not be available in later editions. So you guys do want to go ahead and get your pre-orders in today. Make sure you guys get that really special edition with the color photos. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. When you pre-order, your copy will be signed by the chairman. So please go to burningspearmarketplace.com and order today. And they will also be made available for Kindles if you're into that kind of thing. So you guys will be able to have access to that as well. So again, get your pre-orders in. They're available on burningspearmarketplace.com. That is the political report to the 7th Congress, Vanguard, the Advanced Attachment of the African Revolution. That's out in February. Uhuru. In March, we have March 23rd and 24th, the African National Women's Organization plenary is being held in St. Louis, Missouri, led by Comrade President. Yes. Yajide Odumila, for all my African sisters out there. You wanted to know, what is our role in the African Revolution? Well, ANWO is the role. ANWO has that answer for you, and you guys need to come to the ANWO plenary. But we've also invited the brothers, come and learn how you support African women in the revolution, and get all this political education. This is very, very important, very historic. So it's in St. Louis, Missouri. You guys can register at anwouhuru.org. And in April, we have the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations, 3rd Electoral Campaign School in St. Petersburg, Florida. That's April 6th and 7th. If you are trying to, run for office on, revolutionary platforms such as the National Black Political Agenda for Self-Determination, this is the place you want to be. You see all the crisis in the world is deepening, and, you want to change things within your community, change the conditions, and you want to run for office. But you want to run for the people, this is the place you need to be. Again, or you can go to blackisbackcoalition.org for more information around the Electoral Campaign School. And also in April, the Uhuru Solidarity Movement National Convention is being held in St. Louis, Missouri, April 13th and 14th. So come be in white solidarity with Black Power. Witness the growing movement of white reparations to African people. Under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. So it is, just an amazing dynamic thing to see the party strategy in practice, seeing all these white people around the world saying no more genocide in my name and fighting on the front lines with African people in the belly of the beast to return back all the stolen wealth and resources that belong to African people. So you guys can get a firsthand witness to that. And if you're white, participate in it. You guys can go to uhurusolidarity.org to learn more about that important convention that's happening. So that is all I have for announcements. Let me see if we got some more stuff in. Oh, thank you, David. Thank you for keeping me on my toes. Okay, so you guys do not have to wait another day to see Chairman Omali Yeshitela speak. You guys can tune in with us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be, is the Omali Taught Me Sunday Study, happens every Sunday featuring Chairman Omali Yeshitela. We have been doing this very important edition where we're talking about the history of the party, and we are going through the decades. The last study, the last live study before we sailed away on the Marcus Garvey Legacy Cruise, was talking about, the 60s and, what was happening during the 60s. And now we're going to be talking about the 70s, solving the problems of the revolution, which in the 70s, there was a real transformation that happened in the world. It was the consolidation of the African People's Socialist Party and other tremendous feats that happened within that decade. So that's what we'll be talking about tomorrow with the chairman at 8 a.m. That is streamed from Chairman's Facebook page and also the Burning Spears YouTube page. So you guys can tune in tomorrow with us. And I'm trying to understand what Lisa and Olafin are going on about. So Timba, I saw your hand up. Yes.
Today, 2 years ago, in 2016, the Black Power 96 Tower was erected.
Uhuru. We didn't even know we was making history. Uhuru.
No,
I'm sorry, yeah. Thank you. So that was Comrade Timba Shabanda, who is the station manager for Black Power 96.3 FM. He says 2 years ago today was when we erected the Black Power 96.3 FM tower. So that's just a great victory for the party. This is a stamp in the party's history and in the world's history at large. So Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. All right. All right, so Lisa, if you could get me a final count. I got a couple numbers going and I don't want to read the wrong one. And again, you guys keep making your contributions. theburningspear.com/donate or that alternative link. Don't listen to me. It's the alternative link that's in that's right here in the live stream on Facebook. So Lisa says that they are still counting online pledges. Total online, and including a contribution that Comrade Lisa is making. Okay. I'm trying to make sure I read this right. It's good though, y'all. We did good. We made out very well. We can confidently say that we have surpassed our $2,000 goal. Woo! And that's how you vanguard up.
Vanguard up.
Keep the spear burning. All right, well, just because we surpassed don't mean that that has to be the end of this. You guys, again, continue to support the Burning Spear in all the different ways that I've also laid out to you. Become a distributor of the Burning Spear newspaper. We want that spear moved in all of our, throughout all the African colonies within this country and around the world where we can get it. And become a part of this spear team. We have so many roles that we have to fill on this to make the spear happen every single month. And but we need you so we can produce it faster than that, on a weekly basis, getting it out daily basis. White Power gets their newspaper out to everybody on a daily basis. It's on every deli, shop, whatever you see. The Burning Spear has to be right there contending with that. So thank you, comrades, so much. I really am just, this is good. I'm very happy. So with that being said, thank you again. Thank you so much, Chairman, for being here with us. And here's to another 50 years of keeping the spear burning. We are winning!
We are winning!
Uhuru!